excited for you ladies to take us home. Yes. Hello? Can you hear me? Yes. So first of all, I just want to give it back to you, Annie, give it back to the F3 community. I've been sitting here for quite a few hours, and I'm so impressed by the panelists, by the women entrepreneurs, and so grateful to be here. But in addition to that, I'm so grateful to be sharing the stage with you incredible ladies. Not only are you doing your part in really building communities, getting more women and individuals in this space, but you're also just killing it in your own domains. So today, while the topic is commitment to care and how we cultivate empathy and integrity in Web3, it's also about showcasing these amazing women and what they do. So I'm very excited to be here. A little bit about myself. So I'm Tara. I am an emerging technology consultant, but I also am a leader in Crypto Babes community. And we really try to onboard and get more women into Web3. So we're a community that works with a lot of communities like F3, and yeah, super excited to be here. So ladies, to kick it off, I really want to learn a little bit more about you. So tell me who you are, what is the community that you're part of, and how you really build this commitment to care within what you do within that community. So Janelle, maybe you can get us started.
Sure. Well, hello, everyone. And again, I will reiterate Tara's comments on F3V. Thank you so much for having us and for doing this and having these important conversations. They really, really matter. And Tara, you're a pretty amazing woman, too. I'm happy to do this with you again and the rest of the panelists. So I'm Janelle Shaluhi, founder and CEO of Venus Ventures, Inc. And essentially, we're an ecosystem, Web3 ecosystem, where we educate, we incubate. So we have a global ecosystem of about 80 individuals and organizations across the world that are part of this incubator, including startups, Web3 startups, artists, NFT artists, you name it. And then we also have projects where we solve big societal problems through Web3 and emerging technology. And the idea is to bring our ecosystem into these projects to work with us so we can start getting money rolling into Web3. So that is kind of what we do. And as for commitment to care, everything we do has a social good purpose. So we actually have a social contract. It's on our website. I meet everybody who comes in to or wants to be a part of Venus Ventures. No one is, everyone's doxxed, no one is undoxxed. And that there's a reason behind that, because I want to know who these humans are, what they're doing, what they're building, because we want to support them and help them grow, and then obviously help them become big Web3 companies. So that is how we've embedded commitment to care into our ecosystem.
Yeah, and Janelle, what I love about what you do is that you cater to your community where they are in their journey. So some people may be newer to Web3 and they have no idea what that is, and that's where that educate piece comes in. And others, maybe they know what it is and they have an idea, but they don't know how to get started, they don't know how to get funding. So really appreciate that you cater to that entire spectrum.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's important because, especially with Web3, there's like, what, 1% of us in the world that are doing this right now? There's a massive, massive educational opportunity, and no one's going to get into this space if they don't know what they're getting into. So education is actually at the core of everything we need to do at Web3, and we have to educate for the right reasons, with the right purpose, and for building for the better of the world. That's what Web3 is about. Well, that's what my Web3 is about. I hope it's what everybody else's Web3 is about, because we should be building for a better world. And I'll get back to that on my next question.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Janelle. Daphne, over to you.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Really excited to be here in the ETHWOMEN stage, and thank you again to F3 for putting this together. I'm Daphne. I'm a senior software engineer at Salesforce. I'm also the global Women in Technology events lead. So I'm really passionate about diversity, equity, inclusion, education as well, and making sure that this industry of tech, emerging tech, Web3, AI, all of the things, is reflective of our wider society, and that people have the opportunity to learn about all these incredible new innovations in this space. And yeah, I contribute to a wide variety of organizations in this space that have the same values and goals. So really excited to be contributing to Women Tech Makers, Variable Collective, and more. Yeah, for me, it's really about being able to be a mentor, an ally, and being able to bring more people that look like me into this space. So that's what I'll leave it at.
Yeah, thank you so much. Shout out to Daphne and Janelle. Daphne, I'm super excited to kind of learn more about the community that you're creating and helping to lead because, you know, right now Crypto Babes is supporting 3 different teams to participate in this hackathon, and what I'm finding is there's not as much of that technical profile. And it's not that there is not, you know, Web 2 developers out there, but it's how do we tap into that? How do we bring more of that here? So for yourself, being a technical individual and really supporting with building these communities, I think is really gonna help this space overall, not just getting women here, but getting women to help shape these products and the future. So really appreciate all that you do. Valerie, over to you.
Hi. Thank you for this opportunity to be here tonight. My name is Veronica Herringer. I'm one of the chapter leaders of Latinos in Tech here in Toronto. During the day, I'm also a product leader in media and education technology, so I'm very happy to be able to represent our community here today and talk a little bit about the work of Latinos in Tech and what we are looking to promote and make sure that our Latinas, and not only the female that are part of our mentorship, but also the allyship that we have, are seen and seen as professionals that are able to not advance Web 2.0, but also Web 3, because we have these skills. So yeah, that's me.
Perfect.
And us.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and I know there is an opportunity to help expand that community, so I'm really looking forward to learning a little bit more about that soon. And Katrina, over to you.
Hey everyone, so I'm Katrina. So I'm the head of partnerships at a metaverse company called Pocket Worlds. Yeah, and it's a great time there. It's really fun. We play games. We have over 6 million monthly active users. Over 75% of our users are female identifying. And our demographic, our age range is 13 to 28, and we're all over the world. So that's a little bit about me. I got into this space, or the Web3 space in 2016, started off as a crypto trader. I launched 3 NFT projects. So Coco NFT was the first one. I think that got acquired by Metaverse Group. I saw someone from Metaverse Group here earlier, a year after it was launched. Women Rise NFT as well too. And then Aerial Explorers, which is focused on sustainability in the tech ecosystem. After that, I joined a Metaverse company. Found a couple things that I wanted to improve, but I just felt like the Metaverse in that regards was a bit too early and there was no users, and thought I would like to explore a metaverse where there are millions of users, so that's how I ended up where I am now.
I love that. And as I was preparing for this panel, I was looking at all of your profiles on social media, and Kat, I will say, I was so impressed that I found so many YouTube videos on so many different topics that went back so many years. So really enjoyed that and really enjoy seeing someone like you really bring a lot of that knowledge across many different topics to this space. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries. So right now, we really were focused on what does that commitment of care look like when we're building communities, because all of these incredible individuals are doing so much in that space. But what I also want to highlight is within your specific domain, within the areas that you work in, how we bring that commitment to care. So I know, Kat, we just had you, but maybe we can start with you. I know you come from an architecture background, and you're doing a lot in the metaverse and building that future immersive internet. So how do we bring that commitment to care into that and designing the future of the internet?
Yeah, there's so many different ways. I could probably honestly write out a big list, but I'll maybe stick to what we're doing at Pocket World. So one, I would say user-generated content, that's really important. So anyone can build a room, anyone can build a space, anyone can build fashion. We are really empowering creators to get paid for their work in these metaverse spaces. What else is there? Yeah, education as well too. Sorry, I wrote a few notes. Education is also really important too, so accessibility. So you don't have to be a developer, you don't have to be someone who's good at coding. We hired a lot of the Unity dev team, so they have built our world builder, which then allows anyone to create a world or space in our metaverse for other people to enjoy. Another thing about accessibility as well too is anyone can, if you have a phone, I think almost everyone has a phone. Hopefully, I know there are areas where people don't have these devices, and I would eventually like to see that change, but for now, what we're doing is we have access to our metaverse on mobile device and also on desktop. 3, diversity. So a big thing is we're all over the world. So our team actually, we have over 100 people, and we're based all over the world. This company has been remote for the last, I think, 10 years. Our demographic, our users, they're from Russia, Brazil, the Philippines, China, yeah, all over. So I think diversity is really important as well too. And I think another big thing in regards to diversity is like self-expression. So I've had a lot of really amazing stories from our users that talk about, hey, Pocket Worlds, your metaverse has been like the first place where I can truly be myself. I can express myself through fashion. I can, act however I want. I can interact. I can meet other people in this safe space, in this community that you guys have created. So those are a couple things that we've done in our metaverse. And yeah, I hope that you guys, check it out and enjoy.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Kat. I know you're an architect, so when we think about accessibility in physical spaces, that's very different than when we think about that in the immersive world. And even this concept of like getting other people to create content, when I think about the metaverse, I think of very niche skills that are required to build there. But I'm hoping that with the advancements of generative AI and being able to really essentially create worlds with prompts, that will then help to bring more people along, but help shape what that future looks like. So really excited about the work that you folks are doing. Okay, Veronica, so I know when we connected, we talked quite a bit about the work that you're doing, and when we think about product management, when we think about that user experience, how can we bring that lens of commitment to care into that to make those products more user-friendly potentially?
Yeah, I thought a lot about that question because I don't know how to do a product practice without putting my audience, my learner, my user at the center of that. So I don't know how to be different. So even in the context when we think about like Web 2, Web 3, like at the end of the day, we built all those products for the people that will consume, right? What is changing is that people are becoming, I don't want to use the word smarter, but they are becoming more conscious of their own experiences. And they want to weigh in directly into what is being offered to them. So today, like for me, like I start my day thinking about what is the research that I'm gonna run in the products that I'm creating with my teams, and how I'm gonna turn that into very interesting and evolving experiences, where I'm always learning from who I'm serving. And other than that, like I don't know other way of doing that. I know that I'm repeating myself here, but you will not engage, download, or do anything with an app or a website or whatever that experience is that is only mining your data but not offering to you real value, right? So yeah, that's how I see it. To me, it's an evolution that we're being dictated, but also participating with the audiences that we serve. And I can't wait to do more. Like, I can't wait for people to, have smart contracts and come to my platforms and say, you should be doing things this way. And this is how I own my data. And this is how I own community and how I create community. And other than that, I think that there is an opportunity to expand how we build products. I think that in the technology space, there are silos, right? Like we talk a lot about product trios in product management, so product development and design. And once you're creating communities and once you depend on that audience to continue going, you need to bring marketing in. You need to bring the people who are building and supporting that community. And that may be like even your customer service. You need to build all the type of professionals that are part of Latinos in Tech and that we have in the membership, for example. But you need to build diversity of thought into your process to be successful. That's how I see it, but I can talk about it until my face goes blue, but you know what, I'll stop here.
Yeah, no, I think you make a great point, right? Like when we're designing products, we need to put the user at the forefront. And when I think about Web3, there's so much potential to truly own your assets, potential to participate in an ecosystem that's not really, centralized, participate in an ecosystem where we're actually owning our data and able to protect that. All this value, but the user experience is horrible, right? Like if you're not a techie, if you're not that excited about this space, you may not be using these products that do offer value. So it's how do we keep those valuable elements like decentralization, like ownership, like privacy, but designing it in a way where the user doesn't need to understand blockchain, right? When I go use the internet today, I don't need to know what's happening on the back end. So it's an interesting time, and I think that segues perfectly into Daphne, what we're going to talk about. So we just talked about the user experience and the design, but when it comes to building products, when it comes to thinking about those technical design decisions, how do we bring a commitment to care into that?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. I've been a software engineer for the last 7 years, and I've learned a lot over the years about bringing empathy into the practice of engineering itself. And for me, while I do work full stack, meaning with both the front end, the user-facing part of the application, and the back end, the APIs and the data, I'm more front-end focused. And empathy is really, really crucial at this stage. I'm not saying that if you're a back-end engineer, you have no empathy. I'm sure you do. But when it's the front end, it's a whole different ballgame because you're dealing with the portal and the entryway to an application for a user. And so for me, it's really important to keep the user's perspective in mind. I think one example I could use is MetaMask, for example. Everyone here, I'm sure, has a MetaMask wallet, either on their phone, on their computer. And when you go to execute a transaction, what does it say about the gas fee? It says 0.00007329 gwei. It's like, whoa, what are all those numbers? What's gwei? It's like, it's debatable, but for me, as someone that builds with empathy and builds with the user in mind, I would argue that the only information the user needs to know is, what's the cost and the currency that they're familiar with for that transaction. Maybe give a range if the price will change in the next 10 seconds. But it's things like that I want to see more of in this space is, being able to put yourself in the shoes of someone who's using a technology or application or a software for the first time. And just feeling what it's like to have that new user journey. Being able to, I think, build from a place that keeps accessibility in mind as well is really important. So on the front end, you have to consider how the user's interacting with your application. You might think, with a mouse and a keyboard, but some people don't use applications that way. Some people use screen readers. Some people use other devices to interact. And is your application accessible to those folks as well? And so, for me as a software engineer, those things are very important. And again, just making the user experience journey as easy and simple as possible and, just dummy-proof, essentially, is what I really care about.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That is the only way we're ever going to reach mass adoption. So for those that might be hacking over the next couple of weeks, if you're thinking about ideas you might build, I would encourage you to consider thinking, how do we make this user experience easy so that anyone can get involved with Web3? And when we think about Web3, it's supposed to be permissionless. It doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter where you are. If you want to participate, you can participate. But that barrier in that user experience is a big challenge that hopefully we can all work together to overcome. Now, Janelle, when I was thinking about you and what question to ask you, I was like, Janelle does everything. She's working in AI, she's working in Web3, she's working in the metaverse. So I'm hoping you can maybe shed some light into one of your projects and how you're really being intentional about bringing that commitment to care.
Yeah, and I think no matter what we do within Web3, I think the mindset is actually one of the most important things that we have to cultivate. Why? Because it's completely new systems. We're building new systems. Web3 is a whole new way of living and being and doing. And what we want to ensure is that we're building positive use cases, positive experiences. Because, for example, the metaverse, to me, metaverse is all about experience. It's about the experience you're going to be able to have in a digital world. What you want to enable is a positive experience for everybody. So marginalized and disabled, they're the perfect example as to why we should be building in the metaverse, because they don't have access to a lot of the things that we do. So I think it's super important to be able to build structures and systems for everybody. So the mindset itself is one of the most important things. And I say this, and I think you've heard me use this statistic before, we are, as a human population, we're not exactly, and this is no one to blame, it's just the way our systems have been built, we're not exactly killing it right now. All right, if you look at the globe, on a global scale, if you look at the entire world, what's happening right now socially, politically, economically, somebody's got to say it, We're not exactly killing it as a planet. Like, we need to do things differently. We need the change. And so that part of that change can be actually done. And my personal opinion is everything could be solved through Web3 and emerging technology. I really see a lot of the solutions. We're building towards that. What we need, to your point, Tara, is more people in the space. So we need to encourage people, because the whole idea around Web3 is decentralization. It's around centering the tech around the human and not the human around the tech. Web 2 is about human being centered around the tech. We need to flip that model. We need to make it centering the tech around the human, where the tech enables a human. So it's a massive mindset shift. So that's what we're doing. We're doing a lot of the mindset pieces. Examples as to what we're building. So a perfect example is we just, 3 months ago, we applied for FedDev funding with the Katrina Museum to build, basically help them get into Web3 and emerging technology. One of the things we want to do is actually build them a metaverse, a museum in the metaverse, where people can actually engage and come and see arts and culture from all across Canada, from all across the world, to help marginalized and disabled who don't have access to arts and culture to be able to have that access to arts and culture. That's one example. Another quick example is I'm actually building right now. I was able to secure Canada Summer Jobs Grant, first Web3 Canada Summer Jobs Grant in Canada. And that's part of it, right? We have to keep doing these things and helping government understand how important this stuff is, right? So we're actually building 2 different metaverses right now. And Katrina, we need to talk about your metaverse. But we're building 2 different metaverses right now, one of which is actually honoring my ancestors, who are the ancient Phoenicians, so the Phoenician civilization. Born Canadian, but my ancestors are Phoenician. No one here, I'm pretty sure, who knows who the Phoenicians are here? I'm impressed. That is awesome. But no one really knows who they are, but they're responsible for the alphabets. So they're responsible for the way we communicate today, the first mode of transportation, which is sailing, and ships, jewelry, all this, but they're lost ancient cultures. So what we want to do is bring this museum to a digital space that can globalize, and everybody can have access to it, and basically it's an education. As to who the Phoenicians are, why it's important, their contributions to society, but we are going to gamify it, and hopefully use Unity to gamify it, to help with that user experience and help make it easier for everybody. So those are just some examples, but it's all about the mindset, and we all have a part to play in it, to ensure we're building for positive, building for a greater good, and building positive use cases that we can use as examples to government, to others, so it's incumbent upon all of us to do this.
That's amazing. I mean, the thing that gets me the most excited is when we're using emerging tech for social impact. So both of those examples were amazing, and I can't wait to learn more. So thank you so much for sharing that. So I know we're at time, but I do want to just wrap it up with a couple things. First of all, I'm so grateful again for you ladies, because not only are you killing it within your respective domains, but you're really being intentional about bringing more people along, and that's exactly what we need. So thank you for that. The second thing is I want to shout out F3, because this whole topic is commitment to care. And yes, huge shout out to you. So this whole topic is commitment to care, and I know when we started collaborating, when we brought these different communities together to be able to bring this perspective for you folks, we all signed and looked at our own commitment to care as different communities, how we could collaborate and do so in a purposeful way. So, you, F3, I'm always impressed by your community, and I really appreciate that you bring other communities along so that we can together have a bigger impact. So thank you, everyone, and really appreciate you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much.